think one of the first records that inspired the whole project, there's a record on the project called Every Little Piece of My Heart. And when I started working on that one, I knew I was kind of moving into a different space. I had another EP done that I was going to turn in as my first project on the label. And when I started working on Every Little Piece of My Heart, I kind of hit my A&Rs at the label and was like, I think I have something new to say. I hope y'all not mad at me about it, but I think I can push it in a direction that, you know, y'all will like. And so I made that record. And then I made this record that didn't make the album because I'm kind of just holding it for something. And that truly told me which direction that I was going in. It's a huge record. And like, I haven't been able to finish it the way that I want to, but it is one of the first records that I started on this project. And I'm just kind of holding it for a good time because I think it's going to be very useful to me down the road. So yeah, those two records, I'm not saying the name of the second record just because it's not being released, but that particular record, you'll hear it. That, you know, you'll hear it soon. I'm working through like visual ideas for it and all of that. You know, I'm always working on multiple things at one time. So I just those two records really, really inspired me to kind of push my sound into a different direction. And you were saying something about, you know, like being at home and not necessarily, you know, or feeling like you run into those roadblocks and everything when you're out in the world with people. And I think it's probably because we're trying to impress the people in the room and then we end up getting in our own way. At the time, what's beautiful about working from home is that if I run into writer's block, I just go in the kitchen, make some tea, stop what I'm doing, make some dinner, go to the refrigerator, you know, like stop, watch something on Netflix to get inspired again. You don't get to do all of that in the studio because everything is so on the clock and you're in front of people. And I love that. I hope, you know, for the next few albums, like I'm able to do a lot of that work here at home before I jump into the studio with other people, just so I can get my ideas out of my head without, you know, the need or want to impress or really honestly hear other people's opinions. You know, sometimes that can get in your way too creatively when you have so many opinions in the room. You're thinking one thing might be dope that you made, and then you have two other people saying, I would change this. Sometimes you just need to be by yourself with your creative thoughts and, you know, really fine tune what that means for you before you start to share it with other people. So I work with a lot of producers, but two of my favorite people to work with is this group named Anakin and Vader, and they're based out of DC. They're like family to me. So they send me like batches of records sometimes, and basically how we work is we produce with each other. So it's like they'll send me something, you know, I'll like certain elements, I'll ask them to send me those elements, and then I'll add drums or keyboards or things like that. So it's a really, really collaborative space. So they sent me this loop, and the opening of Kream, the actual record that came out, all was birthed from this loop that they sent me. And I felt the same way. I felt like there was a lot of breath in the loop. And so my job as a producer is to create the most like drastic version of that I can. So I feel like Kream is not a subtle record. You know, it's not a record that sneaks up on you. It's very in your face. And I love the fact that people are starting to pick up, now that the record's been out and people are streaming, they're starting to pick up on the subtle nuances in the record. Like, you know, sex isn't always about like the hardcore act, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's about the little subtle details, like the breath that you're taking. And sometimes that, you know, in my opinion, it makes it more intimate than, you know, just the typical stuff that we hear in songs. You know what I'm saying? Like to think about the breath, to think about how your partner is feeling, like all of that shit just makes the song even sexier. So I think, you know, as I was writing it, I was trying to build it out that way. You know, the song has an arc, you know, and I think people are starting to really discover some of the things that I'm saying in the record too. So I'm excited, man. That process was super fun to try to figure out a way to have this song that has so many layers to it that you got to listen to it again to peel back you know, the next layer. And that's what makes me excited as a producer and as a performer. It's like, if you feel that way about the record on Spotify, then I can only imagine how you'll feel when you see it live. You know what I'm saying? So that's really exciting. It's dope that you picked up on those elements too.